book on the subject of Bitcoin investments. So thank you very much for your time, Mr. Wong.
Thank you, Michael.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk to Shakil Haziq from the Malaysian Association of Technical Analysts on how the stock and currency markets performed this week and projections for next week. Don't go away.
Hello Malaysia brings you in-depth interviews and important questions from big names to everyday people. People who have and are making a difference. Join Gerard Ratnam on Bernama News Channel. Brings you the latest in current affairs, lifestyle and entertainment, as well as one-on-one discussions with fascinating personalities. Only on Bernama News Channel.
Gain insights from the people with the capacity to translate vision into reality. Interviews with corporate leaders at 8:30 p.m. Monday, only on BNC.
Welcome back to the third segment. We are talking to Shakil Haziq from the Malaysian Association of Technical Analysts on how the stock and currency markets perform this week and possibly the projection for next week. Shakil, welcome to the studio.
Yeah, thank you
for joining us. So basically, how did Bursa perform this week?
Okay, for this week the index performed quite well because this week it's ranging from 1717 to 1760, so which is good because from the previous week it's in a downtrend, but now we can see a potential of an uptrend.
Uptrend. What is supporting the market?
Actually, if you look at in the market, it's supporting by the foreign. We look in the market.
Foreign funds.
Foreign fund is coming into the market.
I see. Is it substantial?
I think it's quite substantial because if we look back in the previous history of the the foreign fund that come inflow into the market, usually they come into the month of January. But what is quite interesting is that during the December they already entered into the market because I think maybe because of the our GDP is quite good, and then because of the coming election.
Is it correct to conclude that they are actually coming in for window dressing activities, because normally these big boys come in for window dressing? So is it window dressing activities or they just accumulating positions?
That one is possible, I think, because by the end of each year, actually, because of the window dressing, basically they will come into the market.
Okay. What about local funds, local fund managers? Are they active in the market?
Actually, if we look in the volume of the institutional market, they were the net seller for the time being, and the net buy is from the foreign funds.
And then are retailers active in the market because they follow the big boys?
Actually, if you look in the retail market, actually they were in the market, same as the foreign market, but the net seller right now is the institutional market.
And then which were the sectors that came in for a lot of attention this week by the foreign fund managers?
If you can see, there's the interest is on the property, the construction. Sorry, construction.
I think basically because I think during the budget there are a lot of projects that were announced, and many of the projects that are announced in the earlier budgets, the projects are coming on stream now. But there's a lot of work for these construction companies.
Correct.
The ECRL and LRT and MRT2 and things like that.
Yeah, correct.
What about other counters, other sectors? What about telecommunications?
For the telecommunications, I think it's not yet there because if you look at the index. Okay, the top 30 counters, basically the one that push up the index quite hard is because of the banking sector, such as the Maybank and the Public Bank. So all of these counters have been pushing up. So this weightage push up the KSI index.
Was there range trading? What was the range between the
Okay,
CI?
for this week, we're looking at the 1717 to 1760.
This is
But now
what-
we see the support is now is at 1750.
Yeah, but then this is the Christmas holiday season, the New Year season. Do market players take a break, or they are sidelined for any reason whatsoever?
I think for the players like the big players, like if you can see into the volume that they come out, they are under the net seller. But I think for the foreign investor, they are keep coming in. I think because of the coming general elections.
Any counters that sort of caught your eye this week for major gains, or or major losses?
Okay, for I think the stocks that I'm looking at is actually like VS, SK Press and Heng Yuan, because if you look at their quarter result that is just announced in the month of November,
Yeah, the third quarter.
the third quarter result is quite significant good, and there's some kind of improvement in their results.
Yeah, but then I understand many of the companies also reported their Q3 earnings and all that. Is it correct to say that they relatively did very well and they reported very good earnings, and the chances are that for Q4 they won't do better?
I think based on this, like VS, Express and Heng Yuan, I think for the next quarter is still gonna be considered good, because the market is quite good. You see the GDP, everything is quite good right now. Even the ringgit is quite good right now.
What about next week? How do you think the KLCI will perform for next week?
I think for next week, because of the sentiment of the window dressings and then the general elections,
I see.
all of this is going to make the market more bullish.
For general election, you mentioned it and all
Yeah,
that. Okay, let's go to the ringgit. How did the ringgit perform this week?
Okay, if you look at the ringgit, it's quite improving compared to previous. I think in August we targeted the range is around $4 for ringgit. Sorry, for ringgit.
Okay, 4 ringgit. So this 4 ringgit is a psychological barrier. So when do you think we'll be able to maybe cross over that very good barrier?
I think it's a very good barrier. Is that for ringgit, right?
Yeah.
But if you look, I think that it's possible. I think by the end of this year or next year, it's going to try to break 4 ringgit based on the general elections coming out.
Shakil,
Right?
when you're talking about the end of this year, it's only about 2 weeks away.
Yeah, 2 weeks away. But the range now is 408, 407, right? The range.
But what I understand is that intraday trading about 2 weeks ago, it did go to 4.02.
Yeah.
I see. So what is the expectations of the ringgit in the next quarter? So because I remember some major banking houses and research houses projected that the ringgit will reach 4.02 at the end of 2018. So we are already like reaching that level now. So what is your projection? Maybe in the first quarter, will it go higher?
Okay, in my opinion, because if you look in the GDP of Malaysia is quite good right now. It's improving. The growth rate is improving. So this means that the possibility of the ringgit to go from below than 40 is there. This possibility is there.
What about the U.S. Federal Reserve move to raise rates and all that? Do you think Bank Negara will follow suit?
I think for the time being, Bank Negara will not follow the same thing as what is happening in U.S. market, because U.S. market is quite different in Malaysia market.
Okay. So next week, how do you think the ringgit will? What are your ranging for the ringgit?
I think the rate ranging for ringgit is around 408, 410 to 4 ringgit lah.
You're quite bullish about the ringgit, right?
Yeah, quite bullish.
Yes, and the stock market.
Yeah, in the stock market.
So do you think it's a good time to buy the ringgit and the stocks, or?
Okay, actually I think it's a good time to buy, to try to look out into the bursa, because we look at the index and the GDP, as I mentioned about the GDP, is keep improving the growth. That is very interesting.
Okay, Shakil, thank you very much for your time. So that's all the time we have for BizTalk this week, and thanks to Mary Fair for this gorgeous set. So until the next time, bye for now.